Hello, welcome to my shed and welcome to this build. Now I've got a 1/48 scale Spitfire Mark 16 here, and the kit manufacturer is ICM. Now this will be my second ICM build. I'm in the process at the moment of finishing off a JU88, and I was very impressed by the way that kit went together. It was I think I paid £30 for it, which for a 1/48 scale twin engine bomber was quite a reasonable price, and I was expecting issues with it, but I had none whatsoever. It was a lovely kit to put together. So I thought to myself, well, let's try another ICM kit, and I came across a small group of these single engine fighter planes in their range. They do a Spitfire and a Mustang and a couple of other popular sort of aircraft of that era, and they're selling them for around £15, which for a 1/48 scale plane is very reasonable. Now while I was looking, I came across this on Amazon. This was actually £11.20 with free postage, and for that money I thought to myself, well, I'm going to take a punt on it. It's obviously a very budget orientated kit, and I don't expect to when I look in the box to see really good sharp moldings. I'm expecting to see flash, etc., but for the price I'm going to give it a go and put it together and see how we get on with it. So let's take the lid off here. Now we've got a nice idea here by ICM. I had the same with the JU88 kit. We've got a box within a box. Now this is a really good idea, this. And the other thing I like about it is the fact that it's the same size as a sprue. So in other words, it's not an oversized box. So what we've got in here is one bag of sprues. We've got, let's just take them out. We've got the clear parts here. So we've got one, two, three, four, five sprues. Now considering this was quite a cheap kit, I'm quite surprised at the amount of detail that I've got here. I didn't expect anything like this. The actual parts count is quite high on this, and again I'm impressed by it really, but it does have issues, unfortunately. Now the issues are flash. Now there seems to be more flash on the larger parts than there is on the small parts, and it looks like I'm going to have to do a bit of cleaning up here. Fingers crossed that this will go together properly and will fit nicely. I never had this sort of problem with the JU88. They were all crisp moldings, they were really lovely. But this, I believe, is stemming from 2001, this tooling, so it's probably starting to wear. And the actual kit I've got here was a Reeboks in 2006. Now you'll notice that I've got two different sort of rudders and tailplanes here. That's probably because this is one of those kits where you can either make different versions of it. But what I plan to do with this is obviously spend a bit of time getting rid of the flash, and with a bit of luck it should all go together quite nicely. So there's a lot of cleaning up to do. Now going by the fact that I've only paid £11.20 for this and they retail for 15, I don't think this is too bad a kit at the moment from what I can see from it. You're not going to get an absolutely perfect kit for that sort of money, so I'm quite prepared to do a bit of work on this. Yeah. Nice little touch here, which is something you don't always get with a lot of kits, is the fact that there's an engine assembly to make up. Now there's probably a good chance that that engine detail will be hidden, so I shan't be bothering painting that. I'm not one of these modelers who goes to the quite severe degree of painting and assembling parts that end up not being seen. I don't see the point of it. It's a waste of paint and it's a waste of my time. I know there are modelers out there who actually do that sort of thing, but they say they're prerogative. But bear in mind that not all these parts will be painted. Right, what have we got here? I think we'll have a look at this one here. I think this is another yeah, I think this here, without looking at the instructions, these are the tips of the wings. This Mark 16 has got clipped wings, unfortunately, and I'm not keen on Spitfire. Excuse me, I'm not keen on Spitfires with excuse me, I'm not keen on Spitfires with clipped wings. The whole thing that makes a Spitfire is the actual wing profile, and when they started lobbing the tips off of them, it sort of lost of its appeal a little bit. But again, these are present because this is probably a molding to make maybe a Mark 9, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, this is all a bit flimsy. It's not very stiff plastic, and when you got flex and a molding like this, it can cause problems. So I'm hoping it don't create a fitting problem. Yeah, the sprues here, if you see that, they're actually bent. It's probably because it's been in the bag there, and that don't help things. But yeah, not a bad bit of detailing on there. You know, you can't knock that. They've gone to the effort of putting some detail on there. So yeah, a lot of flash. Now I'm not going to bother taking this out of the packet. I'm hoping that this will have a nice clarity to it. If it doesn't, I shall probably immerse it in my floor polish, which is something that I use when I restore my die cast. I find dipping it in that floor polish actually gives them a bit of a better clarity. But until I take that out the bag, I'm not going to know. But it's best left in there at the moment to stop it from being scratched. So we come to the instructions. Now this is quite a little small instruction leaflet. This, again, it's probably been made like this so that it'll fit the box. It looks like the engine is the first sort of process, build process I have to do with it, and yeah, it's gone up to 10, but 11, 15. Right, there's about 15 sub-assemblies by the looks of it. Yeah, it's probably very simple to put together, and judging by the instructions here, I'm going to have a lot of parts left over on the tree, because this doesn't look all that well detailed when you look at the instructions. Yeah. We got paint references here. I'm going to have to go and cross-reference that with my Vallejo Model Air paints. And my usual thing is I normally have a highlighter where I go around highlighting different colours. I think I use a green for the part numbers, and I use a purple for the paint codes, and that allows me to it allows me not to overlook any of the parts. So when I've actually glued them and they've been set, I then put a pen stroke through them, and that way I can keep the build process as it should be. Although sometimes I do actually jump the procedures because of the painting scenario with it. Obviously there are the sub-assemblies here that have to be painted, and they're best done when they're off. But yeah, there we go. Pretty simple, isn't it? Now, a lot of manufacturers out there, they do a little write-up about the actual subject matter, but you're not going to get anything like that from here. But we'll see how the instructions fare, shall we? Right, we've got two schemes here by the looks of it. It's standard fare by the looks of it, and you can see the clip wings here, and it's probably usual undercarriage colours, and the two dark earth and brown camouflage scheme. And again we got a reference here as well, colour reference. Yeah, so that's that. And decals. Now I've yet to actually apply the decals to that JU88, so I'm not too sure what ICM's decals are like. I'm hoping that I'm not going to get any trouble with these, but looking at this, I don't think the registration's very good on them. I'm looking at that, and that looks like it's off center to me, unless it's because I've had a hard day at work. Yeah, so I shall probably soak these in warm water with a bit of soap liquid, and that'll give me a fighting chance of applying them, because some manufacturers' decals are very, very fragile, and not having any experience of these, you know, a decal set can make or break a model. But yeah, we'll see how we get on with that. So there we are. Right, so I've started this build, and I started off assembling this engine assembly here. Now these instructions are small, as I noted before in the previous clip, but I'm finding it very, very busy, and I'm finding that this lot here has too much going on, and I'm struggling to sort of follow the instructions. Now I've highlighted the part numbers, highlighted the paint codes, but it doesn't really help me in any way really, and the actual assembly of that engine is pretty poor. In fact, I'd probably describe this kit as a nasty piece of crap, to be honest. I wouldn't advise you to buy this kit at all, and if any of the other kits that are around the same price as this are like this, I would steer clear of them. Yeah, dreadful fit. The flash, which I didn't think would be a problem, has turned out to be a problem, because the plastic they're using is very, very soft, and I'm struggling to remove the flash. All it's doing is just folding it over whenever I go to either sand it or scrape it with my knife. Yeah, it's just awful. Now I've decided to just build the engine block on this. All these small items here, bits of detail, I'm not going to bother with, because it ain't going to be seen. And basically I need this engine so that I can attach the prop and attach these manifolds. Now these manifolds I haven't bothered gluing to the actual heads, because I could foresee a problem, because they locate, and there's a load of influencing that could be done on them. In other words, they're not sitting flush. You can actually rock them, and the actual positioning of them is all a bit ambiguous. I was worried I was going to glue them to the engine, and when I fitted it to the fuselage, they were going to be all off center, lopsided and all sorts. So I've decided to glue the manifolds on once I've made the fuselage, which is what I've done. So I've made the basic engine up here, and as you can see, this bit here is needed for the prop. Now there's all these bits here, which was the framework that the engine had to be glued to. This is just bloody nasty rubbish. The locations and the instructions and just the general fit, I haven't got no interest in it at all. So I am hoping to be able to glue this engine block in without that framework, and hopefully I can then progress on and get on with the fuselage, which is something that I've decided to do. So I've sort of jumped, and I basically dismissed these instructions. What I've done is I've gone ahead and glued the fuselage together, and as you can see here, I've got it all clamped up. The fit was atrocious. It wasn't very good at all. and I've had to put quite a few clamps on here to get it to close up as it should do. I've had to use super glue, which is something I don't like using because I think it's a bit of a bodge, but these parts needed to be glued instantly because to wait for glue to dry and things with this, there was too much sort of movement in the joints. Now the fuselage actually has gone together quite nicely. There's looks like a gap there, but I do believe that that's part of the structure of the fuselage. That gap's supposed to be there, so it did actually close up okay, but yeah, not too impressed by it. So where I should have had two halves of a fuselage together with the engine glued into one half, I've got nothing like that, and I haven't even sprayed the inside of the fuselage because I really just can't be bothered, to be honest. I should probably end up brush painting that interior. So all in all, at the moment, I'm about to remove these clips and do some filing, some fettling to get rid of the flash. I've actually laid some super glue down over that gap rather than filler. So although there's what looks like to be a gap, it's actually filled in with glue. So my next headache now is to get the front part finished, which means trying to get that engine to fit where it's supposed to, so that I can add the manifolds and the prop. How I'm going to go about that, I really don't know, but without that, I might as well just throw it in the bin. That engine is just well, it's just a waste of time. It's what they could have done there was could have done away with that engine. It's unnecessary for a kit of this price and this sort of quality. They just as well have had just introduce a bulkhead with the spigot for the prop to go on. Right, so that's what I'm going to have to do next. So I'm going to go off and do that, and I shall be back hopefully with the engine fitted, and we can then carry on then assembling the upper part of the fuselage here. So I'll be back after a lot of swearing. Right, so I've sort of progressed a lot further than what I was expecting. Unfortunately, when you've got a kit like this where you're actually doing a lot of fettling, you can get carried away, and all of a sudden you think to yourself, oh, I need to stop and do some filming and have a chat about the progress on it. Yeah, I've done quite a lot of work on this. The engine actually fitted okay. I didn't have a problem with that come the end, so I didn't have to bother with all that framework. And the manifolds have glued on there quite nicely as well. I haven't had any issues with that. This front nose cover here, this was nasty. There was quite a big gap down here where it wasn't meeting flush with the fuselage. I've had to remove a lot of plastic there, and during that process I've created holes and gaps. This here I've actually filled in. This is an area where I'm supposed to glue a bit of detail regarding, I think, is the petrol cap, fuel cap. What's happened is, because I've had to fettle this here to get it to sort of blend in with the fuselage, I've ended up having to just fill it anyway. So I won't be adding any detail to that. Other than that, yeah, it's not been brilliant. The actual underneath here was a very poor fit again, and I've only just finished rubbing that down. It's nice and smooth. It's blended quite nice now, but what a lot of plastic had to be moved for that, and I wasn't too impressed with it. It located okay in here. We got a bit of like a dovetail effect here, and that affected the way it sat on the rest of the area, and it influenced it quite a lot, and it didn't sit right. Even though it was fitting right in here, it never lined up here. But yeah, I've managed to clean that up. What else is there? The oh yeah, the tailplane. Now I've added the rear wings here. What I thought was excess plastic in the way of flash. Turned out to be actual material that I should have left. There's been so much flash on this kit. Sometimes you can't make out what's flash and what's supposed to be there, but unfortunately I made a mistake. And I've had to fill that, so that really wasn't necessary. But yeah, the rudder here didn't fit properly on. I mated it up and it seemed to line up okay. I put a couple of clips on there to make sure that it sits flush, but it's not fitted properly. It's a little bit off center, but it is what it is, this kit. I'm not going to make too much of a fuss about it. So next stage is to do the ailerons and finish this off here. I got the feeling I need to lay some guns in there and block that off. What else is there? I think that's it mainly. Once that's done, I'm going to check some other detail as well that's got to go underneath here, because what I want to do is try and get as much as I possibly can on this fuselage so that I can prime it and paint it, and then the smaller details such as the undercarriage and the prop and obviously the canopy and all that can be done later on. So I'm trying to get the majority of the build done so I can get on and paint it. So that's what I'm planning on doing next. I shall come back with these parts fitted and have a chat with you about the painting process. So see you then. Right, so I've glued the ailerons on and these covers here. I haven't inserted the actual guns because to be honest I think they're going to end up breaking, but I might see if I can get a bit of small wire to represent the guns. I don't know yet. Yeah, it's all bloody nasty, this. I dry fitted it and it's just not fitting properly at all. It's just not level. It's the moldings are twisted, and as for these things here, there was a case of gently pushing them in until they were flush with the surface, because you could just literally push those further down, and the amount of times I've taken these out to bring them up to get them level, yeah, it's just horrible. Right, so I'm going to give this a coat of primer. My go-to primer is this is UMP grey, and I'll be using my Arden steam back here, and this is 0.4 needle, and I'll run about 18 psi with this. So I shall probably set me spray booth up, show you a little bit of the primer being applied, and then it'll be a case of painting the underneath. Now the underneath, I've actually decided on this colour here, Eau de Nil 009. The reason I've chose this, and I've ignored the actual instructions because I don't trust them, is I've got a leaflet here that came with a set of Vallejo Model Air paints. Where are we? Yeah, here we are. Let's tip this up. Yeah, I bought a set of Vallejo paints, and they always put a little leaflet in for referencing, and it's been a godsend, this. I ain't going to get it all in because it's quite a large fold out. So I was looking at the dark green and the dark earth. Now the dark earth is 323, which I've got, but I should use 324 green, but I haven't got it. I'm struggling to get 323 and 324 paints, unfortunately. I can get them online, but there's the cost of the actual postage, so I might end up buying another set of paints like this, because they're on special offer at the moment on Amazon. Rather than being £22, they're £14 a set. So I might buy another set of these. So that's the two colours done, the brown and the green for the upper fuselage, and we've got the O'Donnell for the underneath. So that's what I'll be using. Yeah, that's a godsend, that. So that's the reason why I've chose those colours, plus the fact that I think this one here I very rarely use, so I thought myself I'd use it up. I would normally probably use a different underside colour than this, but like I say, it's been around a few times, and also because of the fact that this is such a crap bloody kit, I'm reluctant to use my more common paints. Yeah, right, so I ain't gonna blabber on anymore. I'll get this camera set up in my spray booth, show you a bit of spraying of the primer and the underneath, and then I should probably be leaving that overnight and then masking it off tomorrow to do the two colours on top. Right, so this year's all finished, and it's been a while. I've walked away from this several times. It's been close to being thrown in the bin. I've just come down to do some projects down here, and I'm waiting for some paint and glue to dry, so I thought to myself, well, what can I do? And I decided to focus on throwing this together. I had the canopy, undercarriage and prop to finish, and I've just basically thrown myself at it, and I haven't taken a lot of time over it. I used the green which I thought I'd used on the actual frame, airframe. It must have been a different colour to what I've actually noted down on the instructions, because I went to use that what I thought was the right green and it's the wrong green. The canopy's the wrong shade, and the wingtips I've ended up spraying black for the same reason. It's such a long time ago, I don't know which green it was I was using, but whatever it was I wrote down on the instructions, I never used it. Yeah, not a very good kit. Soft plastic, location points pretty poor, instructions are just dreadful, and the actual canopy here, even though I haven't spent a lot of time on it, it isn't a very good fit. And I've got to go around with a cocktail stick by the looks of it, because I've still got a bit of paint I need to remove on that. Yeah, so all in all, yeah, not a very good kit. Didn't enjoy it. Glad it's all over. Normally when I get kits like this, I tend to knock the video on the head, but I was determined to make a video of this, because I think it's only right that people should know how bad this kit is. Right, so I'm going to bid you goodbye so that I can crack on and get a couple more projects done. They'll be on camera, so they are forthcoming. They're thoroughly enjoyable. Funny enough, they're Tamiya. I love Tamiya kits. I don't know why I bother with crap like this, but sometimes you just fancy doing something for a change, and it don't work out, does it? So anyway, I'm gonna get on and focus on getting those other projects done and up on my channel. So thanks for watching. Apologies for it being a bit negative, but there you go. There's no grey area in my life. It's either black or white. I'm not one of these for making up excuses because something's wrong. It's either right or wrong, and this is completely wrong, this kit. Anyway, I shall no doubt see you soon. Bye.